Friday. Welcome in to Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yow, joined as always by Mo Patton, and we are getting ready for the weekend.
Everybody's working for it.
That's one of my favorite songs, and there's actually like a country spinoff. It's not a cover, but there's another song called "Working for the Weekend All Week Long," and I grew up listening to that particular song.
Yeah, because you didn't grow up listening to Loverboy.
Very, very little. Classic Rock 99.5 was always on. You know, if it wasn't sports talk in my dad's car, we were listening to classic rock. But so maybe sometimes, but that really wasn't a classic rock song.
Not at that point.
But well.
Yeah, well,
Bob Seger and Poison were on the classic rock station in the mid to late 90s. Go figure. But yeah, but working for the weekend all week long. That's what we're doing here. And I have a free weekend, Saturday and Sunday, free and clear. So if you have anything for me to do this weekend, let me know. I'd rather just stay at home and do nothing because I don't have any more free weekends this month. So I'd rather stay home. But, sometimes you got to do stuff.
You should probably stay home. Maybe you can accumulate a couple of points.
No doubt. Well, that's what I'm thinking is if Sarah's watching, she might have something for me to do.
Oh, I'm sure she'll have something for you to do.
Can you pick this mattress up and turn it over or something? It could be anything.
Something. Yeah.
I think we're gonna
anything that keeps you from sitting and doing nothing.
Right.
Busy work.
We're going to the Dig store tomorrow morning.
The what?
The Dig store.
Dig store.
Yeah. It's called Ben Hunt, and everything in there is $7. They just get like Amazon trucks or whatever. Last weekend, 2 people got iPads for $7.
I got a projector from one of those stores for $3.
Yes. See, we're going to the Ben store tomorrow. So
where is it?
It's in Columbia, behind where the new Hunts is, right there. The Mapco and the Quick Mart there.
Oh,
go in between there and go to the back, and it's behind there.
Okay, so down there at the corner of
James
Pulaski
Campbell
Highway
and
yeah,
the bypass.
Okay, got you.
But it's kind of in there with all those kind of, I guess, over there where Jason Cox's building is.
Got you. Huh.
So yeah, if you're in Columbia and you're looking, don't go tomorrow. Go like some other day. They get new shipments in for Saturday, and it's $7. And then on Monday it's like $5, and on Tuesday it's $4, and it just goes down until they have nothing left. So like you can go on like Thursday and everything's like $3.
But everything's picked over.
But everything's picked
because
over.
they're trying to get it out
Right,
for
the
the
new
new
stuff.
stuff.
So you got, I mean, you can.
So I mean, you can go on Saturday. I mean, $7 for an iPad.
Right. You got to go on Saturday if you want the good stuff. Now, if you're one of those people who likes to flip stuff,
or if you're just kind of,
yeah,
if you're not really invested, you're just kind of going to see what you can find. Then,
right.
Yeah, you can go later in the week.
But Saturday's the day.
The good stuff is on Saturday. Huh.
And it's kind of like a Black Friday thing. Everybody kind of lines up out the door and you run in and start digging. 3, 2, 1, dig. I hope that's what they say.
This sounds like a video kind of thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You gotta do a whole. Matter of fact, I may do a feature story on it because it is unique, to say the least.
Apparently,
so we'll be doing that tomorrow. But a lot of great sports. This is a great weekend to not have anything to do if you're a sports fan. So, looking forward to sitting down and maybe watching a few baseball games over the weekend. We'll get to what's coming up this weekend in the show and what we're looking forward to in the final segment, of course, as we always do. We've also got Nashville Sounds voice Jeff Him. He's coming to us live from Jacksonville, Florida, not Alabama, unfortunately. If he were on the friendliest campus in the South, he'd be a lot cooler, but he is not. We also have Fox Sports AFC South beat reporter Ben Arthur. He'll tell us what to expect and what the big stories were out of Titans minicamp. And, of course, we'll talk a little Braves as well as they get the sweep last night over the Mets and played the Nationals this weekend. So get a big set with them.
Yeah, in a series that concerns me a little bit.
Uh-oh. You know, you gotta be careful. We've got some interesting stuff coming up. We'll get into that because this weekend is going to be an interesting series if you're a Braves fan. You're going to find out some things. Or maybe not because it's the Nationals. And right now they're not very good. So anyway, we'll tell you all of the other things that are coming up this weekend and yesterday's scores. We'll do that on the Rundown.
This is the Rundown.
The Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty Bob Lamb and Associates. The voice of the Blue Raiders also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip at 615-542-1915 or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters, proud to support youth sports across Middle Tennessee.
Summer League Baseball last night, Loretto and Lawrence County Jaybirds played a twin bill. They tied the first game 3-3, and Loretto took out some frustration in Game 2 with a 13-2 win. Major League Baseball action last night, the Braves 13, Mets 10. Took 10 innings to get there, but it was worth it for us. The Dodgers blanked the Reds 6-0. We told you about that yesterday. Orioles, not Royals. The Orioles double up the Brewers 6-3. Blue Jays edge the Astros 3-2. Angels down the Cubs 3-1. And in minor league baseball play, fourth verse, same as the second. Game 1 was 11-4. Game 2 was 4-1. Game 3 was 11-4. So game 4 was 4-1. Jacksonville scored 4 runs in all 4 games. So all you got to do is just score more than 4, and you should be good to go if you're the Sounds. But yes, the Sounds fall to the Jumbo Shrimp 4-1 yesterday.
Women's College World Series wraps up in Oklahoma City last night as the host Sooners. As Oklahoma defeated Florida State 3-1 to win that championship series 2-0, their third straight national championship. 6 in the last 7. Is that right? And 7 of the last 10.
It's a lot. I don't know.
It's a lot. Yeah. So congrats to Patty Gasso and that program. They've done a fantastic job. Stanley Cup final, Game 3. The Panthers down Vegas 3-2 in overtime to get on the board. Vegas leads the series 2-1. In WNBA action, Connecticut defeated Las Vegas.
tough.
94-77. Maybe the Aces were struggling to breathe. Breathing is important, as we discussed earlier this week. Summer League Baseball coming up tonight. Florence is at the Jaybirds of Lawrence County. That's a 6 o'clock start there. And this weekend, the post-19 seniors are playing in the Mayfield Invitational. They play at 4 o'clock today against Owensboro, Kentucky at Murray State, and it continues through Sunday.
Major League Baseball action weekend series, but here are game times for tonight. The Astros are at the Guardians at 6:10. The Nationals are at the Braves 6:20. At 7:10, it's the Athletics at the Brewers, and the Cardinals play host to the Reds at 7:15. The Padres will be at the Rockies at 7:20. The Cubs are at San Francisco at 9:15. Minor League Baseball at 6:05 tonight. Sounds continue at Jacksonville.
College baseball, Super Regionals taking place this weekend. Today, you've got Duke at Virginia.
That game one's probably over at this
I'm
point.
thinking it might be.
I don't have a score in front of me, though. Mainly because it's not on the front page of ESPN at this point, so it must be over.
Yeah, it was an 11 o'clock start.
5-4 Duke with the big upset win over Virginia in game one.
5-4 Duke. So they came back because they were up early, and then Virginia went up 4-3, I think. So, yeah, okay. So Duke gets game one on the road against their Atlantic Coast Conference counterpart. Also today, Indiana State begins its series at Texas Christian.
As the home team.
They will be the home team?
They are the home team in game 1 and 3.
Good for them. Okay. Well, good for the NCAA.
Right.
And rarely will you hear me say that. South Carolina is at Florida. Oral Roberts is at Oregon starting tomorrow. Alabama is at Wake Forest, top-seeded Wake Forest. Kentucky's at LSU. Texas is at Stanford. And going away, the spiciest super regional of the 8 that are going on this weekend. Tennessee is at Southern Miss. And these fan base has been going at it. Bail bondsmen should be on call for this one. NBA Finals Game 4 tonight. Is that right? Nuggets at the Heat. Miami leads 2-1.
No. Denver leads
2-1? Yes. My bad. Had a 50-50 shot. Anyway, 7:30 tonight, ABC.
WNBA action tonight. The New York Liberty will be at Atlanta. All of these games are on Ion, by the way. So check your local listings. I guess it's your local team, whatever market you are in. New York at Atlanta at 6:30 at 7. It's Phoenix at Dallas and Indiana at Minnesota at 9 o'clock. Chicago is at Los Angeles and Washington is at Seattle. On Sunday, Dallas goes to New York for a noon ABC tip. Chicago is at Las Vegas at 2 o'clock on ESPN3. And a doubleheader action on ABC. In the second part of that, it's the Washington Mystics and the Seattle Storm at 2. At 3 o'clock, Connecticut is at Atlanta on ESPN3. And then the Mercury take on Indiana at 4 o'clock. And LA is at Minnesota at 6 o'clock. Neither of those games on television that I'm aware of. Probably on, it could be on Facebook. I don't know. Could be Facebook Watch. NHL action in the Stanley Cup Final. It's Game 4. Golden Knights at the Panthers on Saturday. That's a 7 p.m. puck drop on TNT. And in MLS action tomorrow, Nashville will be at Toronto at 6:30. And that is your rundown. And today's top story is, in fact, Oklahoma, as they get the 3-1 win last night, Mo, over Florida State, but not without a little controversy. And just as an FYI, they have won 5 national championships since 2016. I'm assuming 2020 didn't get played. Actually, I don't assume. I know it didn't get played. And so they didn't win in 18 or 19. So I guess 5 of the last 7, right? Yeah, 5 of the last 7, and they also won in 2000 and in 13. So they've won
7 then of the last
10.
10.
Well, 9.
Okay.
Right?
Because
No.
one wasn't played.
That can't be right. 6 of the last 10. Yeah. Because they won in 13, they didn't win in 14, didn't win in 15, didn't win in 18, didn't win in 19. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Minus 1 is 10. So 6 of the last 10.
I just don't know that I trust you at this point.
I just did the math on my fingers. You don't trust my fingers?
I don't know that I do.
Well, 13 is a year. It's not like 0 to 1. It actually counts as 1. So it would be 6 of the last 10 if you don't count 2020. Per Wikipedia.
Okay, so reading from USA Today's coverage, which trust but verify, Thursday's championship was the 7th overall for the Sooners since
2000.
Softball debuted as an NCAA sport in '82. Oklahoma has now won 5 of the past 7 titles dating back to 2016, not including the canceled 2020 season, with only Florida State in 18 and UCLA in 19 interrupting its run. And Gasso's 7th championship.
Now, did she win one? She didn't win anyone anywhere else. She's only been at Oklahoma.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So I don't know when Oklahoma.
That's not true. She
were.
actually coached at Long Beach City
Long Beach City College
in 1990 to 94.
Now is that a 4-year or is that a junior?
That is a
college?
I think it's a community college. So she went from JUCO to Oklahoma.
And she ain't left.
And turned into an absolute juggernaut.
Beast. Yeah.
She has won 81% of her games, 1456 and 345 with 2 ties. That's just nuts.
It really is.
So in 1999, they won the Big 12 championship for the 3rd time in 5 years. But financial difficulties nearly ended her tenure during the 99 or after the 99 season. Money was tight, and my husband Jim had actually gone back to California because it was hard to find a job here at the time. So here I was raising our 2 children, trying to coach a Division I softball program, which was very demanding of my time and energy. And what did she do the very next year? She just won a national championship. I guess money got less tight after that. I don't know. They gave Gasso a significant salary hike, and her husband was
able to come back to town.
Able to return to Oklahoma.
There you go. Well, it's funny the bargaining power that you have once you win a national championship. What can we get you, Coach? Well, get my husband back home, maybe.
Yeah, and that's the thing that they hadn't even gotten out of the regionals to that point. They had never been to a super regional.
Until they won it in 2000?
Until they won it in 2000. And then they went to the World Series the next 5 years.
Well, if it might have been just a little bit set up for them in 2000. They swept Harvard, Cal State Northridge, and Oregon State in their regionals.
Yeah, but
beat California, I guess I don't know if they had
round.
supers in or not. I'm not sure what the setup was then. But they beat California and knocked off Southern Miss and Arizona.
No, there were no supers because California was in the round of 16, not 8. And it was a single elim tournament.
Ooh. Beat UCLA to win it that year.
That's how you know you've made it.
There you go.
Southern Miss was in the semifinals that year.
Well,
how wild is that?
Again, friend of the show, Georgia Southern coach Sharon Perkins, I think was an assistant on that Southern Miss team, and I think Courtney Blades was in the circle for them, and she was the real deal.
Yeah, she was only 52-7 that year. No big deal.
Like I said,
with 663 strikeouts.
Yeah. So.
Oh well, since Jeff is not in right now, Mo, want to talk a little bit about Oklahoma pitcher Jordy Ball. I'm not saying
that she's crow hopping.
Oh, she's definitely not crow hopping. She's leaping.
Well, either is and
Either is illegal.
and I think you're kind of showing off your knowledge when you say that, because I think
Well, a crow hop requires you to push again. There's no push the second time because she's already released the ball. But she is absolutely leaping off the rubber.
which is supposed to be illegal, right?
It is by the book.
Okay.
And other players in the tournament got called for it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that anybody was cheating for Oklahoma. I'm just saying that some teams got called and
Some did.
one particular pitcher did not. So you take that how you will,
Do with it what you will.
but she didn't give up a run in the tournament. And that's all I'm saying.
Bless you.
Right. Before we get out of here again, we're waiting
Twice.
the arrival of Jeff Him. NCAA football, college football video game news came out yesterday, and our friend Matt Brown was on the Feinbaum show yesterday to talk about it. They had a fill-in for Paul, so I guess that's why, because I can't imagine Paul Feinbaum's talking about college football video games, but the fill-in did, and Matt was on, and they were talking about the College Football Players Association that apparently is kind of new, was upset that they weren't involved in the negotiation for what players may or may not be paid to be in the game. And the number that's out there that's being reported is $500 per player. Matt said he thinks it's a little more. He's heard other numbers that are $600. And I'm just going to put this out there on the record on video. It's out there on Twitter, but 98% of the players that are going to be in this game their NIL value is under $500.
So they're not looking down their nose at $500, then, is what you're saying.
Mike Wright, former Vanderbilt quarterback, now Ole Miss quarterback, Mississippi State quarterback, said that he would be in it for free. He was like,
So don't come to me talking about no boycott. No. I'm good.
just give me a copy of the game and make sure my speed rating's right, he said, which is hilarious. But here's the thing. As a person who plays this video game, I play two different modes. Road to Glory, where I create myself, and I play most recently for Mount Pleasant and Vanderbilt because you start in high school.
Did you play on the red field at Mount Pleasant?
I did not play on the red field. I wish I would have. That would have been
That's
fantastic.
unfortunate.
Or Dynasty mode. All of which the players graduate. I'll be done with the people who are playing football now in the first 2 weeks of me having the game. I don't care if they're in it or not. I'm playing for the name on the front of the jersey, not the names on the back. And that's what college football fans are doing. They want to play with their school. They want to see, sure, the first year you'd love to be able to play with, Joe Milton as your quarterback because you kind of know how to navigate the first couple of seasons of your dynasty mode. But after that, who cares? We just don't. So all this boycott noise needs to stop because it's a free $500.
Yeah, it's $500 that you don't have to do anything
Just
to
sign
get.
your name and let us take a picture of your face, and you're good to go. That's it. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that people are not understanding. It takes about 6 hours for somebody to have the rosters already loaded that you can download from the internet to your PlayStation or Xbox or whatever console you have the game on. Somebody will have it out there. You'll be able to download it darn near immediately. So, there you go. Take your $500 and be quiet. That's what I say. Anyway, we will take a quick break.
Mm-hmm.
And when we come back, we will talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of minor league baseball. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be right back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow alongside Mo Patton here on this Friday, and looking forward to talking with Jeff Him of the Nashville Sounds as they are in Jacksonville for the weekend, coming back home for the longest homestand of the year, welcoming Gwinnett next week. And I'm already starting to warm up the old shoulder for Sunday's first pitch, Mo. It's going to be a whole 10 days away, but I got to start warming up now if I'm going to be able to get the ball to home plate. So
Don't go off the rubber. That's all I'm going to
no,
tell you.
I'll be. Trust me, I'll be in front of the bump. I promise you that. You will not see me from 60 foot 6 inches.
I'm going to tell you that a lot of folks' ego has gotten them.
Nope, not me.
Trying to go off the rubber when they've not thrown up. Jeff, you've seen it.
I have. I think, Chris, you got to know your limits. And if you are confident that you should not go from the mound, just remember that in the moment next Sunday when you see that mound there and you're like,
and you see those people there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's the people.
And you decide you got to impress somebody.
I
Right.
don't need to impress nobody.
Yeah. So
I
you
don't
got the
need-
Father's Day assignment for the first pitch. How about that?
So my 2-year-old will be with me. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be super cool.
Very cool. That's great. Yeah, I am looking forward to a very long homestand It'll be we got two fun teams coming in with the Braves component of Gwinnett. Norfolk is really good. The Orioles have so much talent that we saw last year with the Tides. There's more coming, even with what Baltimore's got up there now. So from that standpoint, it'll be a challenging homestand for the Sounds. But things are also looking up for this club because the Brewers are getting healthier. And I think by the end of the 2-week homestand, we're going to see some names back in the Sounds lineup, or at least very close to being on the brink of in that Sounds lineup. Freelick, Hira, the Brewers are going to get some guys back, which is going to send some guys back. So between Milwaukee and Nashville, things are going to get bolstered over the next couple of weeks. So it's an exciting time from that standpoint on the field.
Yeah, looking forward to obviously the next 2 weeks and Norfolk coming in here. I mean, as I recall, they are leading the league. They were so far ahead that I don't think anybody could have caught up since the last time we talked about them anyway.
Yeah, they've got a 6.5 game lead. They're going to be the first half champion, it would certainly seem. And so it'll be the standings will reset, which is a new thing at AAA. But I think if you're looking at it from a Sound standpoint and you think of all these guys who have come back in the last week or so and are going to continue to come back, if things, knock on wood, keep going according to plan, it sets up for a pretty interesting second half of the season for the Sounds. And again, the underlying current, yes, we as a Sounds organization want wins and good teams, and but the parent club is atop the NL Central and has postseason aspirations, and so they need what they need, and they're going to take it when they need it. They've had to take a lot from the Sounds, which is great individually when guys get a chance. It's even cooler to see them go up and do well, and that's what's happened a lot this year. I mean, Colin Ray has sort of saved the Brewers' rotation before they also added Julio Teheran. You got John Singleton up there now. Andrew Monasterio's been terrific since he's gone up. Abraham Toro is up there right now, and so it's always fun for the AAA team to send guys up because it's going to happen a good amount of time over the years or over the course of a year. But when they go up and they do well right away, that is a win for everybody. That bodes well for everybody in the Brewers organization, and it makes it fun for those of us who cover the Sounds all year to have fun storylines like that. I mean, John Singleton back in the big leagues for the first time in 8 years, a guy who's turned his life around for the better. I mean, come on, that's just great stuff. And that one is just one of many stories in the last week of guys getting a shot up there.
Blake Perkins goes up and gets his first home run, and it's a grand slam, right?
Yeah. How about they go up together when we were in Charlotte last weekend, and Blake had already been up there, but not for very long. So he's getting his feet wet in the big leagues, and Singleton was sort of the big story of that day just because of John's path and story. And then Perkins hits a grand slam and drives in 5 that day. And it's like, hey, I'm here too, guys. I'm here too. It was great for Blake. A really cool moment for both of those guys in Cincinnati.
Monasterio, we talked about him getting his first hit. He got his first home run since we talked. Is that right?
Yeah. He's done really well. Interesting decision that they had to make the other day. And Bryce Terang is going to be back in the Sounds lineup tonight. He got optioned when they got Willie Adames back from the concussion list, and Monasterio had gone up, and he's done well. And so Adames comes back, and you got to send somebody back. They elected to go with Terang. And it's just another example of what we've talked about the last couple of years. Like the examples of guys who go up to the big leagues and never go back to the minors at any point. It almost never happens. I was just looking at it the other day. I was like, what was Mike Trout's history? Mike Trout got optioned 3 different times in his first kind of season or so of the big leagues. And I thought Craig Counsell, he explains things so well up there, the Brewers manager. He was saying, look, I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically like, yeah, a player's not happy going down, but this is not the end of a story. These are not linear paths. And Brandon Woodruff got optioned. Freddie Peralta got optioned at one point. Corbin Burns got optioned. This doesn't mean Bryce can't still be an all-star, that he can't be a long-term big leaguer. The Brewers love everything about Bryce Terang's game. And so there's a part of you that's like, darn, he's back. But who's to say he won't be back up there very soon. And I think the fact that Bryce Terang has a high ceiling to be an everyday big leaguer, it in an odd way, it sounds weird to say, well, then he's the guy that should go down, but he needs the at-bats. He needs the volume of being in there every day. Monasterio's done great, but he's not playing every single day. He's playing a decent amount, but he's not playing every day for the Brewers. So in that regard, it makes more sense the way I look at it to send Terang down to get him right, because in the longer term, he's the likelier everyday kind of potential cornerstone for the Brewers. So he's going to be back in there tonight here in Jacksonville. He could be here for 2 days. He could be here for a month. I don't know. He makes the sounds better down here, but hopefully he's back up there soon, because he's got all the tools to be a long-term big leaguer.
You know, you've done this for a long time. I covered minor league baseball for a pretty good while, and everything that you said makes sense. And probably in their heart of hearts, it makes sense to the player in question as well. But it's still, when that is your ultimate goal, to get there and then to get sent back down, there is certainly a degree of disappointment, no matter how much you know it's probably in your own best interest.
Oh, no question. Yeah, I think disappointment's the perfect word to use. They should be disappointed. There's a problem if they're not disappointed. I think the good ones take that, bottle it for 24 hours, do kind of the woe is me type deal for 24 hours, and then get to work, and then get your way back up there. The good ones can compartmentalize that disappointment and fuel it into the positive. The ones that struggle are the ones who, a week or so into being down, are still just kind of playing the card of I should be up there. And Bryce, I have no doubt that Bryce is already, he got here yesterday. He got optioned on Wednesday. He was here. He took batting practice with the Sounds in Jacksonville yesterday, and he'll go on the roster and be in there tonight. Players are allowed up to 72 hours to report. Terang was here in less than 24. He is let's go to work. Let me get with hitting coach Al LaBeouf. Let's look at my swing a little bit. Let's get some reps. Let's get the volume of at-bats and get me back up there. And that's the mentality that you should have. And that's just how Bryce Terang is built. The competitor in him is not going to play the woe is me card for very long.
And that's something that we paid attention to, you know, watching those guys come down, because not all of them get there as quickly as they go up.
Right.
And I'm sure that the front office is paying attention to how quickly those guys show up when they get sent down as well. So, yeah, that's definitely a good sign that Bryce did not take his full 72 to get back. So it's good to see.
Yep,
Jeff,
I agree with you.
Do you even need to call the game tonight? Because if history holds, then the Nashville Sounds will win 11-4 tonight.
Is that where am I? Oh, has that been where am I missing you?
It was 11-4 Nashville, 4-1 Jacksonville, 11-4 Nashville, 4-1 Jacksonville.
Wow.
So
You're
I mean,
right.
really,
I didn't even notice that. That's
we
a good
could
call.
you can just skip it tonight. You're good to go.
Yeah. Would you guys want to make a call to Adam English for me and see what you can do for me?
Hey, by the way, don't worry.
We already got this one. Mo's crystal ball is out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
man, good on you to pick up that had not even occurred to me with those scores until you just said it. I was like, oh man, that's right on the money. So I'm going to start filling out the final line score in my book here right now. 11 runs,
yeah,
4 runs. There we go.
Hey,
Good.
What happened in the third inning yesterday?
I'm still trying to piece it together. And for folks who don't know what you're referencing, Jesse Winker is here on rehab assignment, and he grounds out in the top of the third, his second at-bat of his second day down here. And I'm literally glancing down, writing it into my book that he had grounded out as a fairly routine occurrence. And I glance up, and he's still talking to the first base umpire, Takahito Matsuda. And, you know, this is one of those perfect examples where, as the announcer, you realize how there are sometimes where you're like, man, I am so close to the action right now. There are other moments where you're like, I am so far from the action right now, because it's all about whatever words are being exchanged. And there's no way to know for me up here what was said. All I can tell you is exactly what I reported on the air last night, that it seemed like a pretty routine ground out. And whatever was said that led to Winker's ejection, it was a very surprising decision, according to Jesse Winker. Whatever he said, he clearly did not seem to think that warranted getting ejected. Well, then it led to Rick Sweet getting ejected, and so
nuts.
but I'm sure there's more to the story, and it who knows if it stems from earlier in the game, the night before. So I mean, there are so many things. This is why we all love to play kind of armchair quarterback, and we all do it. It's fun. There's always more going on, like in the dugout or on the sidelines. We think, how could he take that player out, or why wouldn't they go with this? And like, I'm not saying coaches shouldn't be criticized in that type of example, but like, they always have more information at their disposal than we do. And this was just an example. Like, I can't know who was in the right or who was in the wrong because I'm not down there. But all I can say is it was a very surprising ejection for Winker and the Sounds. And Rick Sweet, he'll get argumentative with umpires when he feels like it's needed. He was hotter than he normally is. And if you're gonna toss a rehab assignment player in the third inning of a game, he really better have said something quite objectionable. And maybe that happened. It just didn't seem to happen last night in the third inning.
Seemed relatively benign.
Yeah. And umpires have a hard job. Like, I'm not. Yeah, it's a weird spot to be in as the play-by-play guy, because it's really easy to be like, what, this umpire is the worst umpire. Like, you don't want to, you describe what you see. I'm not down there. I can't know what was said. You're reading body language at that point, and that's a slippery slope in that type of a situation. I don't know the details yet, but it was very, very peculiar, because, like I said, position players who are here on a rehab assignment, they care who wins, they care how they do, but they just want to get their at bats. And so Winker really better have said something pretty bad to get run when he's got a different set of priorities than somebody else as a regular member of the lineup.
And to that point, Jeff, I don't know if umpires are familiar with the rosters and that kind of thing over the 7-game series, but you kind of need to know who you're throwing out too, don't you?
And I would think they do. I mean, this guy was not the plate umpire, nor is he the crew chief. But so he's not the one signing off on the lineup card before the game. But he's got to know who's in. I mean, he's got to know. He's got to know. He's going to have the plate tonight. We'll see how that goes. But again,
at least you can challenge his calls.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, again, like umpires have a really hard job, and I try really hard not to be one of those play-by-play guys who's just looking for a reason to get on an umpire. It was just weird. I'm glancing down. I'm writing 3-1 put out in my book, and I look up and I see Winker with his arms out, and I had the same feeling. Like, what happened here? It was very odd. Very odd.
Well, tonight, Jansen Junk will go to the bump for the Sounds against a rehabbing Miami Marlins Trevor Rogers. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, and the Marlins are in contention, as you well know, being Braves followers. I mean,
they won't go away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's like a comp to the Pirates who are chasing the Brewers, but like getting it early June and a team is this far in, looking like the Marlins are looking, you got to take them for real. And they've had some decent teams the last few years, and I think it was 2020 they got a postseason spot. So, the Marlins are seemingly for real in that NL East, and they've got a few key guys down here with Jacksonville that they're keeping a close eye on.
I've not kept up with this series as closely as I probably should, Jeff, so forgive me for my ignorance here. But have you all seen Braxton Garrett, or are you going to see Braxton Garrett, because he appears to be on their roster?
Really? That's interesting, because I was just looking at the Marlins rotation yesterday, and I think Garrett has been up there. Okay. We are not. He is not listed, although I will say they are TBD for Sunday. So I'm just trying to look him up.
I may
on
have
the fly.
an old roster then.
That's it. Well, and the online rosters, sometimes they count guys who aren't even there. To my knowledge, let's see. Yeah, Braxton Garrett's in the big leagues as far as I know. Unless something's broken today with a roster move, we're not expecting to see Braxton Garrett.
Okay. All right.
He's scheduled to pitch Sunday in Chicago. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. You're not scheduled to see Keston Hura either, I don't guess. Is it still the end of the month probably before he gets back at this point?
Yes, it sounds like on this upcoming homestand we could see Keston, maybe on the back half of it is what it sounds like. Sal Frelick has a good chance to be with the Sounds on this upcoming homestand too. It was here in mid-April that he went down with that thumb injury. So, man, getting Frelick and Hira back would be massive for everybody, for them, for the Sounds, for the Brewers. I mean, two guys who have a chance to really be contributors to that team. Keston's two-strike approach that had developed over those couple of weeks before he got hurt was really, it seemed like, starting to open up some eyes. I mean, he'd always hit down here, but the way he was hitting with two strikes and laying off pitches that had always seemed to get him, man, was that fun to watch. And hopefully that'll pick up where he left off. And it sounds like maybe the back end of this coming homestand.
The mullet hasn't made its way down, has it?
Not that I'm aware of. You're referring to Mr. Weimer?
Yes.
Joey Weimer's a special human being, man. That guy, I love that guy. He is a keep it simple, let me play ball, and yeah, I've got a mullet. So what? Like that's just Joey Weimer, man. He it sounds like the Brewers might be adding some mullets to the mix up there, but I have not seen any down here so far.
Okay, good. I'm looking at a picture of him after, I guess after Wednesday night's game where he had a couple of home runs, and they're wearing the MKE gear. Man, that's sweet. I might have to spring for one of those caps. Yeah,
their City Connect scheme is really, really cool. And apparently was it Corbin Burns? Somebody after the game, the clubhouse basically came to an agreement that if the Brewers make the postseason, they're all going to get mullets like Weimer's.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and maybe was it World Series? I thought it was just make the playoffs.
I think it's postseason.
Yeah, postseason, everybody's getting mullets, and thankfully that wager, or that agreement, has not trickled down to AAA for those of us who don't want to try to have to grow out a mullet.
And we're sitting here in early June. I mean, maybe enough folks will forget about it by the playoffs that they won't get held to it. Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it got enough traction in the first 24 hours that nobody's going to forget that.
Jeff, we appreciate you taking some time with us today. Really looking forward to next week, and we will see you at the ballpark, I'm sure, as the Braves AAA affiliate Gwinnett comes to town. Should be a lot of fun.
Sounds good. See you guys.
Jeff Him here with us on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll take a break, come back to the Lee Company studio, talk a little Braves right after this, so stick around.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
Music City will be rocking June 23rd through the 25th with a different sound. The sound of NASCAR. The Ally 400 is back at Nashville Superspeedway, and this year, it's a night race. NASCAR in Nashville. It's guitars and fast cars under the lights. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to get your tickets today for the triple header weekend.
There is nothing better than drinking an ice-cold beverage while taking in a Nashville Sounds baseball game. Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller with Mornings on Main Street. The Nashville Sounds and Main Street Media Television have teamed up to promote Sunday Family Fun Day here at First Horizon Park, each Sunday home game. Just go to your favorite Main Street Media website and click on Sounds Main Street Media Day banner to register to win free tickets. And then we'll see you here at the ballpark.
Vroom, vroom. Time for the Rackley Roofing 200, and it is going to be June 23rd out at the Nashville Super Speedway. And we partnered up, all of us here at Main Street Media TV, and we have joined with Rackley Roofing to send you. Yep, what you got to do to win? All you got to do is go to your favorite Main Street Media website, look for the Enter to Win banner, click there, and you're in. Like Flynn. Isn't that cool? Main Street Media TV and Rackley Roofing sending you to the races.
June 9th, 2010, Jason Hayward scored in the top of the 8th inning on a Brian McCann double to give Atlanta a 1-0 lead at Arizona. But the Barbs gave up a 2-run inside the park homer in the bottom of the frame as Hayward and Nate McLouth collided in the right center gap, chasing Gerardo Parra's drive that drove in Mark Reynolds on the game's decisive play in a 2-1 D-backs win. That was this day in Braves history.
Stupid D-backs.
It's Barvey.
Yeah, very Barvish. Not Darvish, Barvish.
Barvish.
Speaking of Darvish, who will go for the Padres tonight in Colorado. Braves get a big sweep of the Metropolitans over the last 3 days. Break out the brooms and sweep them on back to New York or wherever they're going. They are headed to...
Where are they going?
Pittsburgh. It's not a great place to be.
It doesn't get any easier for them. And, man, I tell you, kudos to the broadcast crew for the Mets because they just kind of put it out there. If some things don't get turned around pretty soon, some changes are going to get made, likely. And understandably so.
Heads are going to roll.
Don't know that they necessarily put it that way, but yeah. It was kind of intimated, you know. And, I mean, again, the Mets are in 4th place.
Not only are they in 4th place, but they had a 3-run lead in all 3 games and lost.
Well, at least a 3-run lead because they had a 4-run lead last night. They were up 10-6.
They were up 3 in the 8th inning and lost.
That was the first time in 122 straight games that they had led in the 8th that they lost. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta really, and as I texted you last night in the 3rd inning, I did not expect for those 2 starting pitchers to give up 11 runs in less than 3 innings.
Yeah, well, I mean, a 13-10 game, and that was started by Justin Verlander and Spencer Strider.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. Spencer Strider is struggling right now with his velo. And the problem that Spencer Strider has, and this is what John Smoltz said on the broadcast last night, is he throws too many strikes to throw 96. He's got to throw his velo. He's got to be 98, 99 consistently. And
when he throws as many strikes, when he's in the strike zone as often as he is.
Because you got to miss barrels. You can't just throw it by folks all the time, especially if you're only throwing 96. You're definitely not going to. So you've got to find a way, and you only have 2, maybe 3 pitches in that 3rd one he's still working on. You know,
so he's got to find a way to get people off his fastball in the zone.
Right. And right now that isn't happening. It's year 2, and year 2 is a lot tougher for folks.
Sure.
For pitchers, particularly, because there's a lot more film on you. But
is there any reason to think he won't figure it out?
Oh, no. Here's the thing. I think Spencer Strider is going to be a very good long-term starter. I just think that he's going to have to learn that he's either going to have to just deal with throwing 98, 99 for 5 innings, or he's going to have to
learn a third pitch.
Well, he's been working on the third pitch, which I think is good, but I think he's going to have to be more precise with location. I mean, if you want to throw 96, that's fine, but you got to hit your spots really, really well. You can't miss even by 2 inches, because
you certainly can't miss in the zone.
Well, you can miss in the zone. You've got to work the black. You know, you got to work that. You've got to work those corners, and you've got to work the eye level. You know, you got to be really good at the top of the zone, and the top of the zone is really the most important part for him, because the high fastball is going to be his get out pitch, even with the slider. Because if he can throw the high fastball by you at 96, 97, you know, if you're looking slider for a strikeout pitch, boy, that'll mess you up.
Yeah.
But he's just got to figure that part out.
It's interesting that both he and Michael Harris have struggled in their sophomore season the way that they have, and clearly Harris is starting to show signs of coming out of it, and hopefully Strider will as well. What was Michael last night?
What was his line last night?
Yeah.
I don't know. Everybody got a hit.
He was 2 for 4 with a walk. Didn't score. Jeez. They scored 13 runs, and he didn't have even one. Of course, Darno scored 4. Riley scored 3.
That'll help.
Yeah.
That'll help.
And our second baseman, who was hitless in 4 previous at-bats, scored twice on the night.
Scored twice, walked once, and scored, and then, of course, hit the walk-off home run.
And that'll do it.
From the left side of the plate. And I think that was the most intriguing part of it all for me, was that he went yard. And it was a no-doubter. I mean, as soon
as it was off the bat.
And got to be, I mean, you got to be impressed with what this lineup has done. I mean, you go and you look at Riley's home run, Darno's home run, Ozuna had a homer, Arcia with the game-tying home run. Orlando Arcia, by the way, still hitting .326 and slugging .486 on the year.
We need to get Orlando Magic to the All-Star game.
I've been voting for him. I've been voting for everybody except Rosario and Ozuna. I mean, right now, even the way that this team pitched last night wasn't great. I still think you feel pretty confident about going into this series with the Nationals.
Now let me ask you this:
and the Tigers and all of that.
This is something that I thought about earlier today. You've won 5 straight. Won the last 2 to close out the series out at Arizona. You swept the Mets. Washington is in last place in the NL East.
This is not the team that...
They are 25 and 36, 12 and a half games back of you.
This is exactly the team that's going to beat the Braves.
Is anything less than a sweep unacceptable?
No, and here's why. 1, A.J. Smith-Shawver tonight, okay?
What are you looking for out of him? How many innings are you looking for out of him?
You got to get 4. You hope for 5.
I'm thinking 5 and turn it over to the bullpen the way they've been rocking here of late in particular.
And didn't have to throw a lot out of the bullpen last night that you would normally throw. You know, despite Brian Snitker conceding the game, going to Jimenez and
that's it.
Tonkin. Well, Tonkin in his first appearance back after a rehab assignment, he goes out, gives up a couple earned, but.
Well, I mean, that's because you got 8. You only got 4 out of Strider. I mean, you had to go somewhere. McHugh had thrown the night before, I think.
That's what I'm saying, but
I don't know that Tonkin was necessarily the concession. Jimenez, to me, always is. So imagine my surprise when he went 2 scoreless with 3 strikeouts.
Right. You never know what you're going to get. But, going against Josiah Gray, who has consistently over the last few years been pretty good for the Nationals.
Relatively.
Well, against the Braves, particularly. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Mackenzie Gore against Jared Schuster. I mean, this is obviously not the best part of the pitching rotation. You see Bryce Elder on Sunday. So do I think we could drop one of these and still be okay? Sure. I don't think you have to sweep just because of the pitching matchups. You feel like you can score runs, but, Eric Fetty's not pitching at any point because he's in Korea or wherever.
Yeah. There you go.
So that's not going to help us. I think this is a good series for those two guys to continue. And again, Schuster's been pitching really well lately, so let's just keep that going for him. 2 afternoon games, by the way, 3:10 tomorrow and 12:30 on Sunday, so 1:30 Eastern, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a quick reminder, Ryan Weathers set to go in Colorado on Saturday against Kyle Freeland at 2:10 p.m. So if you are looking for something to watch before the Braves, check out Ryan Weathers' start.
Now, where are the Padres viewable these days?
Via MLB TV,
okay.
I guess. That's about the only way to watch them, I assume. So, or you can just go. Tickets are only $11.
In Denver.
Yes, you got to be in Denver, unfortunately. So.
Southwest?
Dude, Southwest flights to Denver are really cheap from Nashville, by the way. Just throwing that out there. If you look, I ain't got nothing to do tomorrow. I'm just saying.
This conversation reminds me of when I was employed at the local metropolitan daily newspaper. We were sitting in the office one day, and it was it was a morning that I was in the office. I don't know why, but it was it the playoffs? I don't remember. But there were highlights of the Cubs and Dodgers, maybe on ESPN, and Harold Huggins, the late, great Harold Huggins, and I and a couple other folks were sitting in the office and watching the highlights, and they mentioned something about tonight's game. And Bunny looks up and says, "Yeah, I'd really like to go to that game." And it should be a good game. He's like, "No, I'd really like to go to that game," and gets up and walks out of the office and comes back in the next day with souvenirs from the Cubs game that he's gone to the night before.
That's wild.
He just got up, called, got a flight, got tickets, and went.
That's insane.
It really was.
Tickets are to fly out are pretty rough. It's $368 both ways. So
both ways?
Yeah.
Oh,
so just
it's a good thing. It's a good thing the game tickets are only $11, right?
That's the get-in price, though. So I don't know. But
yeah. Wow.
There you have it. Braves Nationals this weekend should be a good one. We'll take a break. Talk a little Titans on the other side of the break on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Be back with Ben Arthur in the Lee Company studio after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Welcome back to Today's Better Health. I'm Colleen Barton, and I'm here with Dr. Gil Kentoff and Dr. Wendy Toohey, and we're talking about the latest treatments in back and neck pain.
Many people, Colleen, come to see us with neck and back pain, and they develop tingling and numbness down the arm or lower back pain that develops into sciatica shooting down their leg. And for these patients, we have an advanced treatment technology, non-surgical decompression therapy that we really introduced to this area. It separates the vertebrae and creates a suction to allow fluids and nutrients back in to heal the disc naturally, relieving pressure on the nerve and on the joint. It's an amazing treatment.
We've been helping patients like this for the last 30 years, helping them get back to work, get back to their family, get back to the life they want to live.
I mean, it really is amazing. Technology helping us to live pain-free and better lives.
Right.
And I bet you have a special offer.
The first 25 callers will receive an examination, x-rays, review of our findings, and their first treatment, all for $39.
Call 615-551-3897 today to receive this special offer.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton here with you on this Friday as we get you ready for the weekend. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun with Super Regionals and, of course, Major League Baseball, WNBA action this weekend, and, of course, the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Final as well. But football's king, and that's why we go to Fox Sports' Ben Arthur as he joins us to talk a little bit about Titans minicamp and what was the biggest storyline to come out of this camp. Ben, welcome in. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well, Ben. Thanks again for joining us. What caught your eye out at St. Thomas Sports Park this week?
Well, I think number one, you have to start with Kevin Byard, him being out there at mandatory minicamp after not being there for OTAs and kind of listening to when he finally did talk on Thursday, kind of what he said and also what he didn't say. It just seems like there still isn't, a finality or closure to the situation, right? The situation being the Titans asking him to take a pay cut, which he refused, and it just doesn't seem like everything is right in regards to that relationship between the Titans and Bayard. I guess that's something to kind of monitor as we continue to move forward. And then I think the second thing would just kind of be this DeAndre Hopkins talk starting to emerge. We saw the report a few days ago that he is scheduled to visit Nashville, visit with the Titans. Mike Vrabel had confirmed that he will be visiting with the team. And obviously, when you have a player of that caliber, a receiver at that caliber, at a position where we've been talking so long this offseason about kind of why haven't the Titans really done anything, and now they're entertaining a guy who's been one of the best receivers of his generation. That whole possibility of them possibly agreeing to terms to the contract. So those were probably the two things that stood out. I mean, for the most part on the field, it was I think kind of a lot of what we saw in OTAs, kind of the rookies kind of getting broken in, Treylon Burks looking like a different player. I think that's a big continuous storyline this offseason, but those are probably some of the things that have stood out the most to me.
Ben Arthur of Fox Sports joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. And Ben, I kind of said that because I hesitate to bring up another writer's work to get your thought on it. And I don't want to insult you or anything like that. But Joe Rexrode of The Athletic has an article that posted this morning, kind of tying the Kevin Byard situation and the DeAndre Hopkins situation together, and basically saying that if the Titans are actually in the running for Hopkins, then they're not getting rid of Byard because they feel like Hopkins is going to help them compete.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's the piece.
And Byard has to be there for them to compete. I mean, is that a train of thought that makes sense from your way of thinking? Have you seen that piece?
Yeah, in full transparency, I haven't read Joe's piece, so I can't comment directly on what he said. But according to kind of your synopsis and that thinking, that does make sense. I mean, we've kind of talked so much this offseason about, are the Titans rebuilding? Are they retooling? What exactly are they doing? But I think kind of the theme, though, is that they still want to be competitive, even if the roster is going to look a little different. We've talked really all offseason about them possibly moving Ryan Tannehill, them possibly moving Derrick Henry. Are they actually going to ink Jeffrey Simmons to that multi-year deal? Like all these, Jeff is in here for the long term. Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are still here. Kevin Byard is still here. That they've added some new pieces around those guys, but I think talking about like, are the Titans actually a legitimate contender? That's a whole nother conversation. But I think that it's clear that the Titans still want to compete. That they want to do their best to compete at a high level to win the win the division. One that looks like Jacksonville is kind of in the forefront right now, but clearly that they still want to be competitive, and that's kind of who Mike Vrabel is, right? I think, but for anyone that that thinks that it just kind of makes sense for them to kind of take a down year and just kind of reset and look to get competitive again in 2024. I don't think that's in Mike Vrabel's DNA, and I think if you bring in DeAndre Hopkins and then you let Kevin Byard go, that's kind of a conflicting message, right? So yeah, I think if you do bring in DeAndre Hopkins, Kevin Byard is going to be here. So yeah.
Why don't you just ask him, Mo? He's right there.
The mayor?
Yeah, just ask him what he thinks.
What's up?
Ben, obviously there were a lot of big storylines going into this mini camp, specifically at the quarterback position. That being said, the DeAndre Hopkins news kind of threw that off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there is a better chance of DeAndre Hopkins being a Titan or Will Levis playing quarterback for the Titans?
There's a better chance of DeAndre Hopkins signing with the Titans. It's very clear right now that Ryan Tannehill is still the guy. He's still the starter, still the leader. You just kind of look at how he's interacting with everyone on the field, interacting with the offense, with his receivers after plays. He's been by far the most consistent quarterback. Malik and Will have both had their good moments and their bad moments. And I think Ryan Tannehill has definitely been the calming force, as he should be, right? He's been in the NFL for a decade at this point. He's really comfortable with this offense, even though we know it is changing with Tim Kelly now the play caller. But yeah, Ryan Tannehill, as of right now, he's still the guy. Could that change mid-season, late season? Sure. But right now, it's definitely Ryan Tannehill's team still. And so I would say that there's a better chance of DeAndre Hopkins signing with the Titans than Will Levis being QB1 right away.
That's good to hear, because
I don't think it's just good to hear. I think it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's good to hear because it makes sense.
Because it makes sense, yeah. That's a good point. That's fair.
Now, defensively, this team is still without Harold Landry. Not sure when he's going to be back, but he obviously is going to be a massive piece to this defense next year. Titans, do they feel like they have a solid core on defense as they sit right now? Obviously they do. They didn't draft anybody. They gotta feel pretty good.
Yeah, they should feel pretty good, right? I mean, I think their front line defense, like the starters, like at the top, they're very good. I think the depth in particular, like on the defensive line, is kind of still where there are some question marks. But I still think this could be a very good defense. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons wasn't healthy for like half the year. Harold Landry obviously didn't play the whole year. I think Roger McCreary being in year 2 will make a huge difference. I think so much of the talk has been around the offensive guys being in year 2, like Treylon Burks and Kyle Phillips, but Roger McCreary is the guy who played just about every game and just about every snap. And he had his good moments and he had his really bad moments too, which I think come as a cornerback and being on an island and kind of what comes with that position. I think he could be really, really good in year 2. Christian Fulton, it's going to be a contract year for him. So there's definitely motive for him to put his best tape out there. Sean Murphy Bunting is a very good young veteran cornerback. And I like their new DB coach, Chris Harris, who brings a ton of energy. And we know Kevin Byard and Amani Hooker are still in the back end at safety. It's still a very strong defense. Linebacker, I didn't even mention linebacker, but I think Azeez Al-Shire is kind of a 1-for-1 replacement for David Long Jr. and Monty
David Long Jr., who was injured in Dolphins camp earlier this week, by the way.
Yeah, so that move is kind of looking pretty good that they let him walk. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the front line is really strong. I think just a matter of depth is kind of the big question right now. And we know the issues the Titans have had with injuries. And so if some of those guys start to go down, especially up front, you just kind of think like, are they going to be okay? And so that's maybe the one thing I think about. But I think for another year, this team is going to be carried by defense. The Titans are going to go as far as their defense carries them, I believe.
To that end, how important is former Jaguars defensive end Arden Key to that defense at this point?
Yeah, he's huge. He's I didn't mention him, but he's essentially DeMarcus Walker's replacement. Like I think DeMarcus had what 6 or 7 sacks last year. He's one of their top sack guys, and I think Arden Key fills that role, like kind of like maybe that number 3 outside linebacker spot. He had similar production as DeMarcus Walker last season, but he's younger and he's a little bit longer and more athletic, and so I think the upside is there, and he's going to be huge, for this pass rush. And I think Rashad Weaver too. I think those two guys, younger veterans, so to speak, are really going to have to play big, especially like we don't know when exactly Harold Landry is going to really be out there to the level that he was before he got hurt. If you guys remember, like Harold would like never be out of games. Like he would play just about every snap, and it's going to take some time for him to kind of get back in the groove. And I think just if you can have that depth, that strong depth right behind him, guys like Arden and Rashad, I think it'll pay huge dividends for Tennessee.
You kind of feel like Rashad in particular, this may be kind of the breakout year for him. Got hurt his rookie year in 21, 5.5 sacks last year. This is a guy who, when he's out there, sort of like Key was saying about himself during these spring drills, when Weaver's out there, you know it. And I just kind of get a feeling that he's ready to take that next step.
Yeah, I do too. Like you said, like last year was his first full year to really be out there. Like I think with year 3 guys is really when you see the kind of player that they're going to be. And I think just in Rashad's case too, like you said, not really having a year 1 and us knowing he had that upside. I think really from that first preseason game, his rookie year, if you remember against the Falcons, when he just demolished that offensive line, and so he's a guy who has a lot of upside too. And again, just kind of with the defense needing to lead this team, the stronger the pass rush is. I mean, the pass rush is the strength of this team, and the more quality guys you have rushing the passer, the better for this team. And so Rashad, I'm expecting big things for him in 2023.
Moving to the other side of the ball, back to offense real quick, because I know that it's been a topic on this show, but got to feel confident, or at least a little more confident, that Treylon Burks was able to make it through with his ability to breathe through the entire camp. And it sounds goofy, but the fact that he didn't have to, go to the locker room and take breathing treatments during camp, that's got to be something that the Titans are excited and happy to see.
Yeah, he's Treylon looks like a totally different player in every respect. Like the way even the small things, like how he talks to the media, like he smiles now. I don't remember him smiling like once all of last year. Is smiling. He looks faster. He looks like he's in better shape. He's leaner, stronger. He's looking better on the field. He's embodying what a number 1 receiver should look like. And the Titans for sure are going to need it with the concerns they have with that room as is. But Treylon has done all the right things, and you could tell from what the coaches are saying, and the receivers coach Rob Moore was saying that too. Like Treylon is just carrying himself like a different player now, and I think a lot of that is just being in the NFL for a year, knowing how the routine is going to look, and knowing what your diet is, and the nutrition and the strength program, and kind of knowing what to expect, and just having been, in Treylon's case in particular, having been in Nashville virtually the entire offseason, making sure he's training in the heat and doing those conditioning drills. So what we saw when we first saw him as a rookie doesn't happen again. He's kind of taken all those steps. He's checked all the boxes. Really, it's just getting to the games and seeing how much growth he's really made in terms of, performance when it matters. But in terms of doing everything right at this stage, he's done that and passed with flying colors.
It's exciting news. Exciting to see, because obviously the Titans have a lot of question marks. Hopefully we'll have some answers here soon in regards to DeAndre Hopkins. No, he will not sign on the cheap, but I do think that
the relationship that DeAndre Hopkins and Mike Vrabel have from Vrabel's time in Houston is going to play a role in this. So I don't know that I'd necessarily be surprised if Hopkins leaves a little money on the table to come here.
I wouldn't be surprised either. Yeah, but again, plenty of questions, especially at the middle linebacker position. We'll see how that shapes out throughout the summer, and we'll talk to you, Ben, about that throughout the rest of the off season, hopefully. So looking forward to more conversations talking about the Tennessee Titans, man.
Sounds good. Thank you guys for having me.
Hey, thank you for joining us, Ben.
Ben Arthur again here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo, it is time to look ahead, but I need to got to throw this out at you. Mm-hmm. Have you happened to see the Atlanta Braves Twitter in the last 10 minutes?
Yeah, no. What am I missing?
Tonight only, fans with the name Larry can go down to the Crown Royal walk-off market at Section 131, and the Braves will buy you one Crown Royal canned cocktail.
Pour Larry a crown.
Pour Larry a crown. You got to be 21, of course, with an ID. But if your name is Larry and you're at the ballpark tonight, you're getting a free cocktail, baby. They're going to pour you a crown.
Might as well. There you go.
I'm telling you, it's one of the coolest lines that I've ever heard uttered from a booth. And
unfortunately, though, Smotes' call is getting really overshadowed by Francour's Pour Larry a crown, because that'll do it as soon as it was off the bat was timely.
John Smoltz in the Braves booth
and John Smoltz on Big Fox
is a completely different.
Two different John Smoltzes.
And I love this John Smoltz. It was fantastic to hear him and Frenchie all the time trying to make bets on the air.
Don't think you can do that, Jeff.
Somebody, I guess, think they walked in and told him that at some point. And so,
and Jeff's not even supposed to be in there, but he reminds everybody that he's in the Hall of Fame too. Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame.
He's like, hey,
don't forget me.
I drive a Mercedes.
There we go. It's funny. Yeah, it was a fun telecast. I don't know if anybody else has done anything like that or not, but kudos to Bally for putting that together. It'll be interesting to see if they do it again.
After
I
last
feel
night,
like they will.
I can't imagine they won't.
Yeah.
So. And I know we're going back to the Braves here, but this Mark Bowman tweet: most balls hit 110 miles per hour by team. The Braves have 92. The next closest is the Angels with 44.
Oh, good Lord.
The Braves hit the ball hard. And
a lot.
Yeah. Very much looking forward to this weekend, Mo, as college baseball super regionals get underway.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm maybe I wouldn't be as focused on UT Southern Miss if I wasn't into UT, but
I think a lot of people who aren't necessarily fans of either team are paying attention now.
I think so, because the way they've been going at it all week, I hope security is ready.
Why? Ain't going to be but 100 Tennessee fans there. 600, sorry.
Yeah, but that 600... they'll be going in there with brass knuckles, I think.
They might have to.
Yeah. So.
Just to even the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
But it is going to be a fun weekend. Of course, the Braves and the Nationals. And I think the Nuggets are going to find their footing again and put this thing just about on ice as they head back to Denver and with a Game 4 win. I really do.
I think they got to keep it interesting. So yeah.
So if it's not Denver, if they go back to Denver 2-2, things get really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Denver's going to pretty much take control and finish this thing out at home in the next week. So that's going to do it for Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be back on Monday at 2:00. So please enjoy your weekend. Hopefully we won't have a baseball game to preview on Monday, but if we do, we will. So
right.
Until then, we'll see you guys later.